Watch this.
Idaho lawmakers are turning their sights on Idaho's homeless population, most of whom just so happen to be unhoused in the Treasure Valley. And a couple of bills have one Boise shelter feeling a bit singled out.
I think she should be celebrated, and I think we need more people like her.
A lot of people are rallying around a West Ada school teacher who is refusing to remove an inclusive poster from her 6th grade classroom. In case you're wondering what you can do, I don't know, how about maybe making a fashion statement?
KTVB, baby!
How many times can one man break a record? Well, that depends on how many times that one man can jump off the Perrine Bridge in 365 days. Every year, it seems the Idaho legislature sets its sights on calling it a session right around spring break. And seeing as how that is happening in about 10 days or so, and the signal for Sine DA is nowhere in sight, Idaho Senate decided to kick it into high gear on Tuesday, late Tuesday, by fast-tracking the Medicaid bill. And Joe Paris has followed along with all the versions of this attempt to restrict Medicaid expansion. So I guess the question is, how can they fast-track something with so many implications? Joe, aren't there rules to this kind of stuff?
Well, if you don't like the rules or you don't want to follow them, I guess you can just suspend them. And that is exactly what Idaho lawmakers did late Tuesday, and they do have the ability to suspend or ignore the rules. They have to take a vote to do so, and it needs a 2/3 approval, and it's exactly what happened, allowing lawmakers to take a final vote on Medicaid restrictions a little more than 24 hours after it cleared committee. Here's how it happened.
I move that all rules of the Senate interfering with the immediate consideration of House Bill 345 be suspended.
Roll call shows 31 aye, 3 nay, 2/3 of the Senate having voted in favor. All rules interfering with the immediate consideration of House Bill 345 have been suspended.
Really pay attention to how quick a bill can get through both chambers. This bill has, from beginning to end, has only taken 7 working days.
So it is allowed, and from the suspension of the rules, the debate and vote was on.
This legislation takes a responsible approach to cost containment by implementing participant cost sharing, work requirements for able-bodied adults, and strengthened eligibility verification measures.
I don't know if you've ever tried to apply for Medicaid, but it's daunting. It takes probably about an hour with a specialist at Medicaid to get through the application. They're cutting people inadvertently because maybe they didn't get a form in on the right date, might not have been signed correctly.
Shortly after debate, the Idaho Senate approved the bill, the final domino before it really heads to the governor's desk. And Brian, the governor will have 5 days to really make decisions on it. Just to be clear, suspending the rules, it happens frequently at the State House, but we did hear from stakeholders that were confused and I guess concerned that public testimony and public input might have been pushed aside.
Okay, and again, 7 days. Now, this is also setting aside the fact that there was a previous version of this bill that kind of got stalled, so it wasn't exactly just 7 daes. But some people say, well, if they can do it in 7 days, why are they here till April?
Who knows?
All right, Joe, thanks. You know, the term NIMBY comes up a lot in the news business. A factory, a gravel pit, perhaps more often, though, when it comes to a homeless shelter. Not in my backyard. Interfaith Sanctuary is accustomed to that acronym. The Boise nonprofit has been trying to expand for years, get bigger, get better, and move into a new neighborhood off State Street. While the Veterans Park Neighborhood Association, though, they challenged the city's approval of that conditional use permit for the project. And the Supreme Court, they sided with the Neighborhood Association, meaning Interfaith Sanctuary, they have to now reapply for that permit. But now there may be a new obstacle for Interfaith to maneuver, this time from state lawmakers, right, Aspen?
Yeah, this is going to regulate where homeless shelters can be, removing it from city control and possibly jeopardizing the shelter's new project. Senate Bill 1166, introduced on Monday, would prohibit new shelters from opening within 300 feet of homes or residential zones in any Idaho city with 100,000 people or more, cities like Boise and Meridian. While existing shelters would be allowed to stay put, they couldn't expand if it violated the new restrictions. There is an exception to allow a shelter within that 300 feet if the project gets 2/3 approval from the neighborhood in proximity.
This would create uniformity, and the goal would be to ensure that these areas are sited responsibly with input from the community.
This bill would directly affect Interfaith Sanctuary's new 24/7 campus-like shelter that is already halfway through construction on State Street. Jody Pearson-Steigers, the executive director of Interfaith, says she didn't imagine having to go through as many hurdles to bring this project to light.
I think it's a target on the project on State Street. I think this bill was devised to try and stop this shelter and any other shelter from being able to locate in areas where there's transit and there's services and things like that. So it will impact other cities, but I think it was designed for this city.
She added this proximity proposal would make it nearly impossible for a shelter to be built in cities over 100,000 people. But Interfaith will keep moving forward with construction and hope this bill doesn't advance. The committee unanimously voted to give it a hearing, which should come here soon.
Okay, this isn't the first time the Capitol people have looked right down Capitol Boulevard towards City Hall in Boise and said, we're going to put something right on you guys.
Yeah.
There are other shelters. Jody kind of mentioned that. Other shelters, what would those be? Boise Rescue Mission?
Yeah, the Boise Rescue Mission has some transitional housing coming to the Boise Bench. I talked to them today. They said this would not affect their project that is going to be opening up here soon, but they do have shelters in different properties, and 3 different properties this would affect and prohibit them from possibly expanding if they wanted to in the future.
But as of now, they're kind of grandfathered in.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Aspen. You know, the 208 is and always has been a conversation, a back and forth between us, the people who tell us their stories, and of course you, the viewers. Bud sent us this text yesterday. Anything new on the teacher who was told to remove posters from her classroom? Well, actually, Bud, kind of. Quickly, though, a little backstory. Earlier this week, we spoke with a 6th grade teacher at Lewis and Clark Middle School who was told to remove 2 posters from her classroom. Posters meant to foster inclusion for Sarah Inama's students. One that listed the values of those in the classroom, and the other one that simply said, everyone is welcome here, with the hands of various skin tones. You can see them there. Sarah said she was visited by her school principal and then West Ada School District personnel who told her to take them down because they go against district policy of displaying personal opinions.
I was told a couple things, that everyone is welcome here is not something that everybody believes. So that's what makes it a personal opinion.
You were told this, that not everybody believes everyone is welcome.
Right.
Okay. And who told you this? Who was the one saying that not everyone believes this?
My building administration and district personnel.
So Sarah told us she took him down that day, but after a few days later, she was feeling a little unsettled by it. So she put the poster back up, believing not only that everyone is welcome here is not a personal opinion, but the foundation of public education. And taking it down would only validate racist and bigoted views. Still, West Ada School District has given her till the end of this year to remove it. Sarah shared her story with us Monday, and since then, our inbox has been flooded with messages supporting Sarah. Yet the only thing we have heard from the West Ada School District is a reiteration of their policy, without an explanation of how everyone is welcome here is just personal opinion. Then today, the district put out a 2-page letter to its staff. They titled this thing, Ensuring a Consistent and Supportive Learning Environment. And the analogy they chose is, to say the least, interesting, calling West Ada a well-coached sports team whose success comes from following a structured game plan. Players can bring their own strengths and personality, they said, but they have to still play within the rules because, well, of fairness. If one of those players, say, I don't know, wore a different uniform or brought their own ball or just ignored the rules, what kind of game would that be? Unstructured, confusing, imbalanced, that letter said. Letter then mentioned Marcus Myers, the district's chief academic officer, the one who told Mrs. Inama to remove her posters, who I am sure has seen his fair share of correspondence over the last few days. It likens Mr. Myers to a referee in this sports analogy. While players, that'd be teachers and staff, bring their own approaches and creativity to instruction, the game itself must still be played within the established rules. And the referees, like Mr. Myers, are there to enforce those rules impartially to ensure a fair and level playing field. It went on to say Mr. Myers has a lot of experience in this stuff, and his leadership makes him an invaluable asset in maintaining a, what do they say, balanced and effective educational environment. So this letter was very much like a pep rally, but still a lot of unanswered questions with this sports analogy memo. Like, what kind of team is this? What team doesn't trumpet diversity and inclusion and stand behind the message of everyone is welcome here? The letter went on to say those values, well, they should be fostered through connections made in classrooms, not through posters. Yet there remains several posters in the school that say welcome others and embrace diversity. But Also, about those connections in the classroom, isn't West Ada already facing a lawsuit that says otherwise? Late last year, the Hodge family sued the district because their daughters and one of their friends were subjected to multiple instances of racism.
I'd start being called the N-word frequently by other students. Our kids started to like enunciate the N-word at me and like kept saying little more bits of it, like nah, 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 and we were right in front of the teacher's desk.
The Hodges claim after reporting such things repeatedly to school and district administrators, they were virtually ignored.
I was just used to not having an outcome or not getting help or not feeling protected. I got used to being scared to go to school, begging my parents not to let me go.
We proudly welcome all students into our buildings and classrooms, it says, not through posters, but through the genuine connection we foster every day. That's what it says here in the letter. But also, teachers need to remove posters of inclusion because, well, not everyone believes everyone is welcome here. So which one is it? Maybe West Ada could use a few more posters as reminders everyone is welcome. Or maybe you need a reminder of just who doesn't believe everyone is welcome. Who might be in favor of removing such signs from classrooms? A reminder of who might be on that team.
That sign is extremely uninclusive to someone like myself who is a female. And if you put he, she, it's who think that men who think that they're females in there, and that's what she's saying right there, that is infringing on my right to be a woman in a bathroom by myself. So you know what? You better get the article straight because there's a new sheriff in town and his name is DJT. And guess what? If these people refuse to accept that that's the reality, no federal funds for them, huh? No federal funds. Take care and know that I am extremely offended by people like that. Oh, everyone, he, she, it's her all. No. If they're in my bathroom, I'll kick their all right?
Okay, so that's who's on that team. Now, to be fair, we only got a couple of messages like that over the last couple of days. 99.9% of them were extremely supportive of Sarah putting her posters back up. And they came from all over. Southern California, Central Coast of California, the east side of the Sierras, from as far away as Arizona, Alabama, Arkansas, Conroe, Texas, Colorado, Oklahoma, Florida, North Carolina, Maryland, Massachusetts, and as far north as Canada. Got something from Quebec, British Columbia, even Alaska. All of them said, well, something like this. Like, I have children in the West Ada School District. I'm outraged by the treatment of the teacher requiring her to remove her welcome posters. If we've reached the point where welcoming everyone is against school policy, then we've really fallen off the deep end. I fear for our country and our future. Thank you for covering this story. That was from Kathleen, Dr. McGowan, by the way. Thank you for shedding light on this and asking for answers from West Ada. Please continue to publicly demand justification. I've taught in West Ada for 24 years. I've been on the receiving end of stonewalling from the district. I would encourage you to go straight to the superintendent. This is not the Idaho I know. And trust me when I say we have reached out to the district, to the superintendent, to the school board directly and repeatedly. The school district and the West Ada Board of Trustees, those are elected to make these decisions and put these policies in place. We've reached out to all of them, and we've been ignored and stonewalled just like Jamie has. But yesterday we got word of someone trying to make something good out of this. Chris Stewart, after seeing Sarah's story, thought, what if we could make this more public? So Chris reached out to a Boise shirt shop, Brigade Screen Printing and Embroidery, and they asked them to make some T-shirts. He took Sarah's poster word for word, even with the same font and coloring of Sarah's poster, including those hands with varying skin tones on them, and he put it all on a shirt or a sweatshirt.
Saying everyone's welcome shouldn't be divisive. And I don't look at that as a political thing either. It's not one side or the other. I think if there's one thing that we can all agree on in today's world, it's that everybody should feel safe and everybody should feel inclusive. There's nothing offensive about that at all. My idea was just to get everybody together and show that we are an inclusive place. That's the Idaho I see. It's the Idaho I choose to see every single day. And I knew once the message was put out there, people would gravitate towards it. So the goal is to hopefully have a day where every student or parent can wear the shirts and just let the world know Idaho is an inclusive place. Idaho is welcome. Everybody is welcome here in Idaho.
Brigade told us this afternoon they've had about 400 orders so far for those shirts, and they're selling them at cost. No profit for them, and Chris isn't making any money on it either. So What they're doing is taking all this negative attention Idaho's been getting, once again, and turning it into a positive. So I guess the questions now remain. What uniform do you want to wear? What rules do you want to follow? What team do you want to be on? The Prime Bridge, perhaps the perfect postcard of Twin Falls. I mean, look at it, it's right there, It's awesome. Even probably perfect postcard for all of Southern Idaho. When it was built nearly 100 years ago, it was one of the highest single-span arch bridges in the entire world, 486 feet above the Snake River below. And while its purpose was about access, these days it's also about thrill-seeking. It's the only place in America people can jump off the bridge year-round. With a parachute, of course, which is also known as base jumping. In 2023, we talked to a man who just set the record for the most human-powered jumps off the Prime Bridge in one day, meaning he had to walk himself out of it. 2 years later, Hunter Funk found out he hasn't stopped. He's just trying to stretch it out a bit.
You want to come watch me jump?
It all started when I was younger.
Jonathan Cox grew up in northeastern Oregon.
We drove over the bridge when I was a kid, but I remember seeing people jump off the bridge and I was like, that is awesome. Like, I just thought it was the coolest thing, like a superhero.
And that short visit to Twin was his sneak peek into how his future would soon deploy.
My wife got a job here in Twin Falls, Idaho, and I was like, I'm gonna base jump.
But once he launched into his first jump,
a disappointment. It was a letdown. I thought it was gonna be like free fall, adrenaline, awesome, you know, and the parachute was open right away, and I'm like, oh, that was lame, I didn't even fall.
But nearly 3 years later,
KTVB, baby!
He's become known for that letdown.
Like, what kept me coming back is learning how to fly the canopy. It's like it's an art to master it. I haven't mastered it yet, but like, it's an art because like you can do so many different things underneath the canopy and you can fly it in so many different ways.
In 2023, he set the record for the most human-powered base jumps in 24 hours on the Prime Bridge. 102 jumps, climbing nearly 500 feet each time, beating the previous record of 64.
Yeah, it was crazy.
While he waits on that record to be verified.
Basically, I'm just waiting for them to say, yes, it's in the Guinness Book of World Records, but it's not there yet.
What is he up to now?
Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 is day 5.
Jumping every single day until he can't anymore.
I'm jumping off the bridge. Ah!
It seems like an easy goal, after already setting the record of 1,255 jumps in 1 year. While some worry about his safety online, others give him the next idea on how he should jump. Jonathan says this is his way of embracing what Twin Falls is known for, and getting to share his passion with the next generation of kids who, like him, once came to Twin Falls just to watch the base jumpers.
When there's kids out there on the bridge, I'll be like, do you want to help me? I get kind of nervous, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, will you count down for me? Count down from 5. And so they'll be like, yeah. And so they'll like count down for me, and it's just, it like makes their day, you know? And I love it.
And Jonathan says he plans to jump every day for at least a year, maybe longer. And he says he would like to also beat his world record that he set in 2023, but he says it might be a few years because right now he's enjoying the slower pace.
That's how many he can do in one day.
Yes.
102, he's got to beat that. That's amazing. That guy's infectious.
Yeah,
Makes you want to go out and do it.
it does. I almost did it.
I don't know.
Not really.
We'll be right back.
All right, a day that doesn't look or really feel much like yesterday. Unfortunately, we've had clouds overhead most of the day. Still at 56 in Boise, 57 in Twin Falls, mid-30s is all for McCall right now. So we are dry across most of the Treasure Valley. I don't know how much longer we'll stay that way. That system we've been anticipating is slowly spreading precipitation in from the west. So eastern Oregon has been seeing some showers for the last couple of hours. It'll be Boise's turn likely around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. So dry for most of your evening. Our sunset at 7:48 tonight. We may hear a couple rumbles of thunder early tomorrow morning as that cold front comes through. Temperatures tomorrow will hit 50 degrees behind the front. Still not a lot of sunshine, and we'll likely continue to see off and on scattered showers, maybe even some grapple in the afternoon tomorrow as that system works its way out. High temperatures tomorrow will cool over today. Low 50s for most of the Treasure Valley, just mid 40s in the Magic Valley, with showers there taking until tomorrow morning to develop, but likely lingering throughout the day. A couple inches of snow possible in the mountains with this first round. Then you can see we'll just see off and on wet weather for the next several days, mostly dry for your Friday, and then we will see rain and or snow Saturday on into Sunday.
All right, we got your comments, and again, we've been inundated with a lot of comments today. I appreciate it. I'm going to get to as many as we can. This one, though, on the issue with homeless people in Idaho and Treasure Valley. When did we get so elitist we no longer consider the unhoused residents or think we get to choose our neighbors? Homeowner here for 47 years and never got to decide who my neighbors will be, says Tam. Now, getting into this story about West Ada and the Lewis and Clark Middle School posters, very surprised and disappointed in the Ada West or West Ada School District. Bible says love our neighbor as ourselves. These posters are not political. They're loving. I shouldn't even have to say that. We support you, Sarah, says Bobby in Boise. And this one says, yeah, I'm on the team for everyone allowed. So make a decision on what team you're on. Based on the district letter, though, faculty uniforms may be next, says M in Boise. Can you imagine what those uniforms might be? Handmaid's Tale? Nope, didn't say that. Didn't say that. I'd like to hope that all are welcome in the West Ada School District. I voted in support of the district levies for 25 plus years. I will not vote for hate. When is the next school levy? We've had this question a couple times as well. And we've had this question about Chris and these shirts and where they can get them. He says, first of all, kudos to Chris for coming up with this idea. Look forward to seeing teachers and students wearing them to school. Cheryl in Star. We'll put this website, a link to this website, Brigade Embroidery, Printing and Embroidery. We'll have it in this story on our website at KTVB.com. Good way to get involved there. And Wasmus Center also shouting out to the 70 organizations that they say have joined their cause of supporting. Everyone is welcome here.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.